Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to A Late Gamer. It is currently actually later in the day, filming my second video for this channel, and I wanted to start another series called Can You 100% the Game? And today we have the World of Final Fantasy Collector's Edition, plus the DLC, so it's technically World of Final Fantasy Maxima, but the edition I have is for the PS4. And I wanted to see if in 2022 it was still possible to 100% this game, including trophies, DLC, various, basically anything in the game. Can you still do it all in 2022? So let's get into it. So I actually ended up buying two copies of this game. The first one was a gift, and this is the second copy. And basically, I wanted, during the pandemic, I started collecting a bunch of different collector's editions of video games, and then I figured out I was a collector. I was like, oh, this is how collecting starts, especially when you're trying to rebuild a video game library. So I had a digital copy of the game, but I really wanted a physical copy. And I'm one of those people that I'm like, if I'm going to invest some money in something, I might as well find the different tiers, because Square Enix especially, they really outdo themselves when it comes to their video games and their collector's editions. And this one right now will run you anywhere. I saw on eBay, one went as low as $45, and I could not believe it. I got this in 2021, and I spent about $100 on it, and I thought even that was expensive. But if I remember correctly, some of the Square Enix collector's editions will start at about 80, and they go about as high as 120, depending on what they come with. I've seen some listed on Amazon for anywhere north of $220, and some on eBay have sold for close to $300, depending on what the condition of it is in. But the good news is that in 2022, if you're not a fan of the collector's editions, you can still pick this up pretty cheap. I think the day one edition or even the regular edition for PS4 and Xbox, any of the disc versions will run you. I mean, I saw some as low as $4. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. So anybody trying to pick up this game right now, just the regular disc version, totally fine. The Switch version, there is a Switch version, and it already comes preloaded with the Maxima, which for PS4 and Xbox was the DLC content. That it will run you about 50 or $60, just because it is Nintendo and those cartridges, and they are trying to milk people for them. As a separate side note, I really wanted to do like a review of this in 2022, just because of how intricate this collector's edition is. And it's awesome. I love everything they put into it and the thought and the detail. So let me know if I should start doing an unboxing playlist of different versions, because I have several Final Fantasy collector's editions, some that I haven't even opened yet, that I would be really interested in unboxing on this channel. If anybody is interested in seeing that, let me know, because I know a lot of people have done unboxing videos, so I was trying to not make another unboxing video, especially for a game that came out many, many moons ago. So the first trophy I got was the Gateway to Adventure, which is the easiest trophy you can get. It's literally a trophy just for starting the game. I got that back in 2018, and I got the last trophy, which is basically the trophy for getting all the trophies in 2021. The hardest trophy for me to get was the treasure chest trophy, which basically is it's the treasure hunter, and it's a bronze trophy, but you literally have to find every treasure chest in the game. The problem is that there's no great way in the game to track how many treasure chests you have. So what I will do, I will try and link in the description below to several different resources I used. There's some great help guides out there. But basically what I had to end up doing is go back through like a guide of all the different treasure chest locations and just follow the guide until I found the one trophy. It was like a needle and a haystack of needles of the one treasure chest I was missing. And the one I was missing was like hidden on one of the coast parts of the game, and it was like you had to turn a certain way into the path, and the whole thing shifted, and there was the treasure chest. The toughest thing to 100% in this game, in my opinion, is the Who's Who, which is a guide of all the mainline characters in the game, everybody in the game, and you get percentage points each time you talk to them or interact with them, and they all have like cutscenes. It's really cool. And the Mirage Manual. The Mirage Manual is really easy to 100%, especially if you're trying to also get all the trophies in the game. There's an actual trophy where you have to master 100 Mirage boards. Don't be fooled, because I ended up trying to catch multiple Mirages. A lot of the Mirages can transform into the Mirage, multiple Mirages, if you will, depending on certain crystals you get in the game. So you don't have to catch multiples of them unless it's a specific variation. And also there is a Mirage that you have to do a mini game for in order to unlock his second form. And I want to say it's the mini game where it looks like a giant tic-tac-toe board, and it's kind of like Battleship. But once you get there, and you have to do it a certain way. So definitely look up some guides for that. That helped me a ton. And with a lot of those mini games, it's just repetition. So don't give up on it. Just keep doing it, especially if you're trying to 100% the thing. The last two parts that were the most difficult was the Who's Who and the Mirage Manual. But the Who's Who is kind of why this whole video came together, besides me just being obsessed with the whole game. The whole game was great. There's a possibility they might make a second one. It's been a few years since the game has been out. I'd hope they make a second one. Without any spoilers, the story will definitely leave you wanting more. And the Who's Who part, which is what I got stuck on, my last percentage point was I needed to talk to Sid and Celeste in their respective town. And basically a lot of the mainline characters that we know from a lot of the games that are in this, you have to interact with them multiple times in order to actually get the percentage point. And so it turned out I was missing one Colosseum battle, the like special battle with the final boss again called Exonine Bahamut. And also I needed to talk to Sid and Celeste one more time, and I'm pretty sure it was just those two, and I got the last percentage point I needed for the Mirage Manual. So definitely check out the description below, because I found a great checklist on one of those game FAQ websites. I'll leave a link to the website along with the checklist. So if you've gotten to beating the game and you want 100% it, go through this checklist and definitely see if you're missing anything, because that helped me a ton. I spent hours scrolling through blog posts, Reddit, trying to figure out what in the world I was missing, and it just turned out I was missing some NPC interactions. So just to wrap up, I highly recommend this game, either on the PS4 or PS5. It runs great. It's not super expensive. They run sales on it all the time, even with the PlayStation Network. So highly recommend it, especially if you're a Final Fantasy fan and you like the Pokemon mechanics. They're similar, and they definitely use a lot of the elements, but it's all Final Fantasy based. You don't have to have played any of the Final Fantasy games to really know what's going on. They kind of weave their own story. And there are some elements from other Final Fantasy games that they bring in that's really cool. You also, as far as I know, don't need the DLC, which was something else I did want to touch on. As far as I know, there is no way to get Sora as a DLC character in this game anymore, unless you previously had him on your system. Apparently he was a free character a long time ago. I want to say 2018-ish time. But because of rights and all that stuff, it expired. So if you're one of the lucky few that have him on your system, great. There are alternate methods to playing with Sora, but you have to have modded systems. So can't do that here, but definitely use Google if you are trying to do that. And Sephiroth, you can still get him as a DLC character. There are some people that are selling his code on eBay, or you can get him if you have a sealed copy of the Day 1 edition. I believe it came with his DLC code. And if you're running into issues on the PS5, because I had this issue, I had to end up deleting the game and all the DLC I already had and then just re-downloading it, and then it worked for me. So yeah, so you don't need Sora or Sephiroth to 100% the Mirage Manual or the DLC. And on the flip side, if you're running into issues with Sephiroth showing up in your champion medals, just make sure everything's saved, backed up, delete the game, re-download it, reinstall everything, including the DLC, and then it should show back up, because I had the issue where I added the DLC after I had already installed the game, and for whatever reason, the game didn't recognize the DLC. Don't know why. It was downloaded, it was there, but the game wasn't recognizing it. So deleted it, reinstalled everything at the same time, and it recognized it just fine. And if any of you are having more trouble after that, I can also leave a link in the description for the same help place that I found when I had issues with mine. Other games that I'm thinking of doing for this, I'm currently wrapping up Final Fantasy 15, which same issue, got as a gift, been on the back burner. I'm working on 100%ing that in 2021. I've finished all the DLC, all the main story. I'm currently working on the multiplayer, which has been a really interesting game to work on, because I'm not 100% sure if all the trophies are able to be unlocked with this game, because the multiplayer, it's been done for a while now. You can still play it, still access it, but it's definitely been interesting, especially because most of the way they have it set up is all AI based. Since not a lot of people are using it anymore, they've kind of shut down the online service part for Final Fantasy 15, that is. And some of the other games that I've already completed that I'm thinking of, the Spider-Man, 2018 Spider-Man for PS4, with the PS5 upgrade, the Miles Morales game. I have a bunch of Final Fantasy games back there that haven't played that I really want 100% as well. Final Fantasy 7 Remake with the DLC, 100% of that. So if anybody has any suggestions or recommendations for the next video, let me know, and I will see what we can make happen. I literally cannot take myself seriously when doing this. My phone is strapped to my Apple Watch, and my Apple Watch is the viewfinder. It's kind of great, but this whole process is just nuts. And I have a lot of respect for the people on YouTube that do it solo. So much more so. Also, let me know in the comments below what your favorite part of the world of Final Fantasy Maxima was, which system you played it on, and what your roadblocks were, because this game was just awesome. I think my favorite part of the game was the very end. Definitely the secret episode for me. No spoilers, but it was really cool. I'm really excited to see what they do with this in the future, especially the new characters. I'm one of those people that is a sucker for a very convoluted plot with a lot of strings left undone, because you're like, all right, where are we going with this? So yeah, I definitely want to see where they go with this. And I will see you all on the next one.